The council chamber reeked of betrayal, though nobody else seemed to notice. I stood there, my secondary arms trembling slightly as High Arbitrator Velcanos delivered the verdict with all the warmth of a dying star. The Terran delegation's request for military assistance is hereby denied. Denied. As if that single word could erase the fact that Earth had saved half the council species from extinction during the Krell invasions. As if it could wash away the blood debts we all owed to those strange, soft-skinned bipeds. Ambassador Marcus Webb didn't flinch. Didn't scream. Didn't even raise his voice. He simply nodded once, adjusted his primitive cloth covering, what do they call it? A tie. And said, understood. We'll handle the Vraxian threat ourselves. The way he said it should have warned us. Should have sent every survival instinct in the chamber into overdrive. But no, we were too busy congratulating ourselves on avoiding another conflict. I caught Webb's eye as he turned to leave. There was something in that gaze, something that made my translator implant glitch momentarily. Was it disappointment? Anger? Or worse, relief? Ambassador, I called out, my vocal synthesizer crackling. Please, this is not personal, it's just politics. He stopped. Turned. Smiled. That smile haunts me still. Of course, Councillor Threx, he replied smoothly. Just politics. Nothing personal at all. 3 cycles later, the Vraxian Armada arrived at Earth system, and we all gathered around the viewing screens to watch humanity's inevitable surrender. 5,000 warships against Earth's meager defensive fleet. The humans would beg for terms within hours. Velcanos was practically vibrating with satisfaction. Perhaps this will teach them humility, he muttered. I said nothing. Something felt wrong, but I couldn't identify what. The Vraxian commander, a hulking brute named Kaza, broadcast his demands across all frequencies. Humans, your council has abandoned you. Surrender now, and we will grant you the mercy of slavery. Silence. Then, a response came through. Not from Earth's orbital stations. Not from their moon bases. From somewhere else. This is Admiral Patricia Kowalski of the Terran First Fleet. A pause, loaded with meaning. You wanted Earth. Well, congratulations. You found us. The sensors went haywire. Ships began appearing on the screens. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands upon thousands of vessels, materializing from points unknown, surrounding the Vraxian Armada like a closing fist. Impossible. Velcanos shrieked, his face plates turning purple. Earth doesn't have that kind of industrial capacity, we've been monitoring them. Webb's voice cut through the chaos, and I realized with a start that he was still in the council building, standing in the observation gallery with that same terrifying smile. You monitored our homeworld, Arbitrator. Did you really think we'd keep our eggs in one basket? The screens showed destruction on a scale I'd never witnessed. Vraxian ships, each one capable of glassing a planet, disintegrating under withering fire from weapons we didn't even have classifications for. Kaza's flagship lasted longer than most, nearly 18 seconds before it became expanding plasma. Where? I croaked. Where did all this come from? Webb turned to face the council, and every member instinctively stepped back. You want the truth, Councillor Threx. Fine. While you were all busy politicking, signing treaties, and patting yourselves on the back for maintaining peace, we were preparing. You thought we were grateful little puppies, happy to have a seat at the big table. But humans, we remember things. Every slight. Every betrayal. Every time you called us primitive because we still eat solid food or breathe oxygen, nitrogen mix. Velcanos found his voice. This is a violation of the Non-Proliferation Accords. You've been building warships in secret. Warships. Webb laughed, and the sound made my blood run cold. These aren't warships, Arbitrator. They're industrial haulers, mining vessels, colony transports. We just happen to have equipped them with some modifications. Nothing in your accords specifically prohibits cargo ships from having defensive capabilities. The screens showed the Vraxian remnants attempting to flee. None made it past Earth's outer planetary bodies. You knew, I whispered. You knew we'd refuse to help. Webb's expression softened slightly. Counselor Threx, you were the only one who argued for us. I want you to know that. But yes, we knew. Humans have a saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The Council has fooled us exactly once. What happens now? Velcanos demanded, trying to reclaim some authority. Now. Webb pulled out a small datapad, his fingers dancing across its surface. Now, Admiral Kowalski and her fleet will be returning to Council space. She has orders to assist any species currently under attack by hostile forces. Free of charge. Unlike some governing bodies, humans actually honor their alliances. The silence in the Council chamber felt heavier than a neutron star. Webb continued, his tone conversational, almost friendly. Oh, and one more thing. We've decided to extend protection treaties to any species that wants one. No political strings attached. No Council approval required. Velcanos' faceplates went from purple to white. You cannot simply. You have no authority to undermine Council jurisdiction. Undermine? Webb tilted his head, genuinely puzzled. Arbitrator, we're not undermining anything. We're just offering a service. Free market economics, isn't that what the consortium species are always preaching? Besides, last time I checked, the Council refused to be our authority when we actually needed you. I watched as 3, then 5, then 12 Council representatives simultaneously activated their personal communicators. The implications were spreading faster than light-speed communications. If individual species could seek Earth's protection directly, the Council's monopoly on security guarantees would crumble overnight. This is extortion. Velcanos slammed his primary manipulator against the podium. No, Webb corrected gently. Extortion is when you threaten harm unless demands are met. We're not threatening anyone. We're simply making it clear that Earth is no longer interested in begging for scraps from a table we built with our own blood. He gestured toward the screens, where Terran vessels were already organizing into patrol formations. Those ships out there, they're crewed by people who lost families during the Krell Wars. Wars we fought while protecting your colonies, your trade routes, your civilians. And when we asked for help, just once, you debated, deliberated, and decided we weren't worth the political inconvenience. My translator picked up murmurs from across the chamber. Some species were outraged. Others, calculating. A few, I noticed, looked almost hopeful. Delegate Praxis of the Kintari spoke up, her voice tentative. Ambassador Webb, hypothetically speaking, if a smaller Council member were experiencing pirate raids in their outer territories, and the Council deemed it insufficient priority for intervention, would Earth's offer of protection apply? Velcanos shot her a venomous glare. Delegate Praxis, you cannot seriously be considering. I am seriously considering keeping my people alive, Arbitrator, Praxis snapped back. Something the Council seems to have forgotten is its primary function. Webb smiled again, though this time it reached his eyes. Delegate Praxis, transmit your coordinates to my ship. We'll have a patrol squadron in your space within 6 standard hours. No charge. Consider it a demonstration of human reliability. The chamber erupted. Half the delegates were shouting at Webb, the other half were shouting at each other, and Velcanos looked like he might actually experience a cardiac incident. I made my way through the chaos to Webb's side. You planned this entire scenario, didn't you? He met my gaze squarely. Counselor Threx, humans have been planning for the worst since we first looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It's kept us alive through ice ages, plagues, and our own stupidity. The Council will never forgive this humiliation, I warned. Forgiveness? Webb's laugh was bitter. We don't need forgiveness, Counselor. We needed allies when the Vraxians were mobilizing. We needed friends when our colonies were being threatened. What we got were excuses and empty promises. So we stopped needing the Council altogether. On the screens behind us, I watched as Terran vessels began jumping to different systems. Each jump was precise, coordinated, purposeful. They weren't just showing force. They were deploying a network, establishing a presence across dozens of sectors simultaneously. How many ships do you have? I asked quietly. Webb considered for a moment. Enough. Let's leave it at that. Volcanos finally restored some order, his voice amplified through the chamber systems. This meeting is adjourned. Ambassador Webb, the Council will be discussing sanctions, possible expulsion, and nothing that matters, Webb interrupted calmly. Because the second you expel Earth, half your member species will follow us out the door. Maybe more. They're tired, Arbitrator. Tired of bureaucracy costing lives. Tired of politics determining who deserves protection. We're offering something simpler. You're in danger, we show up. No committee meetings required. I had to ask. Why tell us all this? Why not just act? Because despite everything, some of you tried to help. You did, Councillor Threx. And humans remember kindness as clearly as we remember betrayal. Webb straightened his tie again. That peculiar gesture I'd learned meant he was preparing to leave. We're not abandoning the Council. We're just done pretending we need permission to do what's right. As he walked toward the exit, Delegate Praxis called out, Ambassador, your offer, it's genuine? Every word, he replied without turning. We'll be there in 6 hours. Count on it. And they were. Exactly 6 hours later, Terran ships arrived in Kintari space and eliminated a pirate fleet that had been terrorizing outer colonies for months. 3 days after that, 7 more species had requested Earth's protection. Within a week, the number climbed to 22. The Council still exists. Volcanos still presides. But now, whenever he speaks, everyone knows there's an alternative. A human alternative. I sometimes visit Webb at the Terran embassy. We discuss philosophy, share drinks that would probably kill most species, and avoid talking about that day. But we both know the truth. The Council betrayed Earth, expecting submission. Instead, humanity showed us something we'd forgotten in our millennia of civilization. That the strongest bonds aren't forged through treaties or councils, but through actually showing up when someone needs you. And humans. They always show up. Even if they arrive with enough firepower to remake the stars.